I'm really, really well. Well, mate, I've got to say congratulations. I've had the chance to sit down and listen to this album, and it is an absolutely amazing album, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So I was wondering if we could start off by talking a little bit about what you
Yeah.
guys were planning when you went into this album. Like, was there something that you guys really wanted to set out to achieve this time around?
Yeah, I think, I mean, of course, like every record, you want to be like the best record. I think the main goal this time was like, we felt that the last record was a real kind of breakthrough for us. I feel like we kind of like reached this new creative point in our career, and getting Alex into the band was like a huge part of that. And, we wanted to follow up that record and top it if we could, or just at least, if anything, just kind of like build upon it and create some new stuff with, what we had done right on that record. And of course, working with Josh Wilbur again was a big part of it. And just the workflow, the way we wrote the record was like very similar to the last record, in terms of how we broke up the writing sessions, how we broke it down to a few songs each time, and just worked on the details. Like every time we went in there, we were just like so focused on each song individually, and not like, we weren't like writing a ton of stuff. It was like we'd write, hey, here are 3 songs, do these 3, and then the next time we came in, here's 3 more songs, and so on until we felt like we were ready.
I read a lot of reviews about The Sin and the Sentence, and people were saying that it was close to being the perfect album and things like that. And while that helps you guys work out what to do with this album, does it also put a little bit of pressure on you to try and get to those heights again?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like, the way I viewed it, like, we've had definitely some, like, high points in our back catalog. Of course, Descendancy, I think Shogun and Waves, were definitely some, like, in terms of, like, a full album, like, ones that really resonated with people a lot. And, sometimes it's like, you do a really, like, a record that really fans really respond to, and you kind of get into this thing of, like, okay, well, we have to do something new now. We have to completely reinvent the wheel. And I think we've done that a few times, and, like, it's definitely, sometimes it worked. I think in Waves it worked, like coming off Shogun, it definitely worked. But, other times I feel like, we just didn't hit that mark the way we would have wanted to. And I think this record was like, okay, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're like enhancing it. We're going to, tweak around the margins a little bit and not try to take such a left turn that people are just like, well, what did I just listen to on the last record? Like, what is this? Like, I wanted people to be like, okay, it feels like I know where we're at. We're in a good spot now, but we need to not take any left turns. We need to just write some really killer metal stuff, and we know what we're doing now. We don't need to shake it up too much.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned, of course, working with Josh Wilbur again as well. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to work with Josh and why you guys feel that he's the right guy to work with, because, yeah, you've worked with him multiple times now.
Mm-hmm. Josh is, like, a great producer in that he can, like, come into any situation, I think, and he adapts to, like, what he needs to be for that band. I think he is a great songwriter in his own right, and, of course, amazing engineer and producer. So, like, if he's working with a band that's never written or recorded a record before, like, he could be super hands-on. Or, for us, we're like a band that, like, needs to bring in all of the material, like, written and rehearsed on our own, and then we need a producer to kind of go over it and help us, like, figure out, like, where we can improve upon the stuff we've written. So we need, like, the guy that's, like, the, kind of the overseer of things. Like, okay, we brought in 80-90% of the music ready to go. How can you help us get that next little bit? And that could be anything from, like, hey, like, on this chorus, what if the third line does something like this? Or, suggesting a couple drum things to Alex. And, he's a drummer himself, Josh, so, he definitely is, like awesome, especially for Alex when he's, like, recording, like, he can really kind of explain drum fills and the drummer lingo, and really connects with him on that. And for vocals, I mean, he really gets Matt to, like, level up. I feel like this is definitely some of Matt's best performances. So he's, like, this all-around great producer, great person, fits with us, like, has a great attitude and vibe, and, like, that's, like, what we want the most when we're working with someone that, like, connects with us and is cool.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that later on. I wrote several times during my notes when I was taking notes listening to the album. Matt's vocals on this album sound like they go to a whole another level. Was that something that you guys were aware of when you were recording it?
I mean, I think Josh having, like, produced the last record, because he mixed Silence in the Snow, but he didn't do the production. You know, the last record was his first time with us, so it was kind of like, you know, feeling everything out. Like, okay, well, how does everyone in the band work, and, like, what's everyone's, like, idiosyncrasies, and, you know, how do they like to do things? And I think when we got done with that record, it was like, you know, everything sounded so great, and we were so proud of it, but we knew, like, in the back of our minds, like, okay, when we get together next time, like, we're starting from having built this whole thing up with the last record. So I think Josh was, like, it didn't take him as long with Matt to, like, get into that spot where he needed him. You know, I think on the Sin of the Sentence, there was this, like, kind of, like, trial period of, like, figuring out how they were going to approach the vocals and what was the best for Matt, what was the best for Josh. And I think with this one, it was, like, they both knew what to do right away with each other. So it was just, like, immediately, you know, getting these great takes. And, you know, I think, of course, being, like, very prepared with, like, writing and rehearsing, and Matt having sung a lot of the stuff in rehearsal, he was, like, ready to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm very happy, you know, with Matt's performances. And, you know, Matt always sounds really great, but I think there's a lot more emotion even on this record, and especially with a lot of the lyrics and stuff, I think it kind of needed to be that. He needed to kind of, like, dig even deeper and kind of see where he...
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Lyrically, what was inspiring you guys? Because some of the tracks kind of have that mystical fantasy feel that you guys are known for, but there's also some really deeply personal tracks on here as well. So what was lyrically influencing you guys this time around?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mixture of both those things, and I think we've gotten better at, like, finding the right balance between it to where it doesn't feel like it's so far, like, one way or the other. I mean, I think when I'm coming in with lyrics a lot of the times, it's like, you know, maybe whatever I'm reading at the moment, or just kind of, like, whatever I'm feeling like I'm seeing in the world is kind of what's influencing what I'm writing at that period. And, you know, I'll write down a lot of notes on my iPhone, and I'll just kind of save them, you know, so whenever, like, we get the music started, I have, like, a good starting point for, like, okay, I love these, like, phrases or lines I've seen, or titles, and, you know, I kind of let that be the starting point. And I like to have music to kind of inspire what it's going to be. Like, I know sometimes some people, like, maybe start with lyrics first and then we'll write to those, and I just feel like I got to know what the mood of, like, the song's going to be before I can really get super, like, this is what the song's going to be about or not. But a lot of times I'll have ideas just kind of sitting there without any music having inspired them, just waiting for when I have the music. I can kind of, like, sing along and, like, read through the notes as I'm doing it to kind of see if anything fits or feels right, and go from there. And you know, same thing with, like, the personal stuff too. Like, you know, Matt definitely had a couple tracks in there that were, like, inspired by more personal events happening. And you know, I think when people listen to it, you know, especially when the lyrics are really well thought out, I think a lot of people, you know, I hope people can appreciate that. You know, we tried to really, I think over the last few records, level up the lyrics a lot more than even in the past, and think about them a lot more, and let that kind of influence the songs and where they go.
Definitely. And there's a real kind of 80s thrash vibe there for the title track, and also the ones we leave behind. Was the past music something that was inspiring you guys while you were working on the album as well?
I mean, I guess we've always kind of had a little bit of that in our sound, and I think it's like very easy to just start playing fast stuff. Like that's like I think that's like our like comfort zone of like, oh, let's just start playing fast. And Ones We Leave Behind is ironic because it came in as a completely different type of song. It was like kind of this more like somber, like I don't want to say ballad because it didn't sound like a ballad. It was slower, it was cleaner, and we played it a few times and just kind of felt like it needed something different to kind of like get that spark. And the first thing was like, you know, the most cliche thing a metal band can do, which is like, oh, let's play it faster. And so we started playing it faster, and you know, until it got to that tempo where we're like, okay, this feels right. And you know, that's just that natural thing for us of like, okay, we feel like we're in our comfort zone. And of course, Alex is like, you know, playing fast stuff is like so effortless for him, and it was like, you know, that song, once we got it to the right tempo, it felt like it just kind of all the ideas came out, and you know, we got that song rolling very quickly.
Yeah.
But fast stuff, yeah, it's in the DNA.
Yeah. The other thing that was a real surprise, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of the tracks from this album actually popped up in the Mortal Kombat 11 trailer. How did that come about, and are you guys big gamers?
Well, Roadrunner has been working with Mortal Kombat on I guess, sort of the competition series. So we got offered having some music in the trailer for the Spawn character, and you know, that was really cool for two reasons. Like, one, Mortal Kombat was like a childhood favorite of mine as a game, and then Spawn was also like one of my favorite comics as a kid. So that was really cool to have, you know, two of like my childhood favorite things like have our music in it. I mean, I would say Matt's probably the biggest current gamer in terms of like, you know, he really has a presence on Twitch. Of course, we use it for our band, but also, you know, he does game on there quite a bit. I know Alex has a Twitch and he games a lot. Me and Corey are more the old school, like, I don't know. I have a Switch now. I didn't have like a gaming console for a long time because I had moved up to Chicago, and I don't know, I just didn't really ever have time. But now I've been getting back into it a lot more, and I'm liking the Switch. And then Corey is more of like an Xbox, you know, NBA Jam type dude playing with his friends online, you know, but no Twitch. He just likes to have the cocktails and just play games online.
Yeah. Well, mate, I know we're running out of time very, very quickly, so I'll just quickly ask before we go, is there anything you would like to say to the Aussie fans out there before they go out and grab the album? And what are the chances that when this crazy world returns back to normal that you guys might tour in Australia?
Yeah. Well, you know, thank you to everyone that came out to see us live when we were down there in December. That was an incredible time, and Alex had such a great time for his first time being there. And, you know, when all this stuff starts to, you know, I guess, blow over or whatever, you know, if it starts to get under a little bit more control, we're definitely coming back down, you know, with the new record. And, you know, hopefully there won't be some other, you know, crazy cataclysmic event like fires and pandemic. I don't know what else is going to get thrown the world's way in the next few years. So hopefully we can kind of get in between whatever that is and get down there and play some heavy music.
Definitely. Well, mate, again, congratulations on this amazing album, and thank you so much for chatting to us today.
Thank you.
All right, mate. Stay safe.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.